Hello, everyone. Welcome to this Inside the Americas. Here's a look at what's coming up in today's show. The fate of an Argentine submarine with 44 crew members on board still hangs in the balance. Murder mastermind Charles Manson dies of natural causes after 50 years in jail. And could being Amish be the secret to a longer life? The answer on the way. I'm Jeannie Godula. We'll start first with our number of the week, 44. That's for the 44 people on board a missing submarine from Argentina. It went off the radar a week ago, but the crew's friends and family are refusing to give up hope. Erin Ogunkeye has the details.
The clock is ticking for the 44 crew members stranded in a missing Argentine submarine, and hope is fading. On Tuesday, the Argentine Navy said sounds detected by probes in the South Atlantic did not come from the missing sub.
Communication satellite companies analyzed a spectrum of more than 400 satellite call signals and finally ascertained that they weren't from ARA San Juan.
The submarine has been missing since last Wednesday. It was on a 10-day mission from Ushuaia, Argentina's southernmost city, to Mar del Plata. The vessel had reported an electrical problem just before it disappeared. Over a dozen boats and planes from Argentina, the United States, Britain, Chile, and Brazil have been combing the seas for the vessel, braving stormy weather. Although the sub has enough food, oxygen, and fuel for the crew to survive around 90 days on the surface, it only has enough oxygen to last 7 days submerged. Nonetheless, many hope the sailors' expertise will prevail.
These submariners go through a unique training program that encompasses being ready for isolation, darkness, low voltage. In that sense, I think the professional crew, I don't know them personally, but in any force, in the Navy, as well as in the Army, they always place a high value on the level of expertise that our submarine crews have.
Expertise that the families of the crew members are counting on, faced with growing uncertainty.
The truth is, we don't know what happened. They talk about a fire and other things, but these are all theories. They can make 1,000 films of what has happened, with happy endings or sad endings, but the truth is, the days go by and not knowing anything at all kills you. It kills you.
The German-built ARA San Juan was inaugurated in 1983, but underwent maintenance in 2008 to extend its use.
Here's a look now at some news from the White House this week. U.S. President Donald Trump spoke to Russian President Vladimir Putin in an hour-long phone call, the two leaders stressing the importance of the UN-led peace process in resolving the Syrian civil war. Trump told reporters it was a, quote, great call, but fears are growing Trump may be ready to hand diplomatic control of a post-war Syria over to Russia, an ally of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. Also this week, the Trump administration said it's ending a temporary residency permit program that's allowed almost 60,000 citizens from Haiti to live and work in the United States. The program was put in place in the wake of the 2010 earthquake. The government says conditions in Haiti have improved for Haitians to return home as of 2019. But rights activists quickly criticized the decision, arguing the conditions in the island nation haven't improved nearly enough for Haitians to be deported. And Donald Trump has reignited a feud with the father of one of the 3 UCLA basketball players who was detained in China on suspicion of shoplifting. Trump tweeted that their release was thanks to him alone, saying, "It was me." LeVar Ball, the father of LiAngelo Ball, has played down Trump's involvement in the 3 athletes' release after they admitted to stealing items from 3 stores during a team trip to China earlier this month. Next, one of the most notorious criminals in America died this week, Charles Manson. He was the mastermind behind the 1960s Hollywood murders that killed 7, including pregnant actress Sharon Tate, the wife of director Roman Polanski. Manson died of natural causes this week, aged 83, after spending close to 50 years in jail.
A man whose face is still a symbol of horror in the US. Charles Manson, the infamous cult leader who was convinced he was the reincarnation of Christ. In the sunny backdrop of 60s California, He created the so-called Manson family, saying he was inspired by the hippie movement, a dark and twisted version of it anyway. He encouraged his young female followers to carry out a string of brutal murders in unassuming chic, white Los Angeles neighborhoods. Among them, the actress Sharon Tate, a rising Hollywood star and the wife of Roman Polanski. She was 8 months pregnant when she was stabbed to death along with 4 other friends in the summer of '69. The very next night, Manson's followers continued their deadly spree and went on to kill 2 more. Whilst he didn't personally kill his victims, he was found guilty of committing the crimes as well as 2 other murders committed the same summer. His reason for the assassinations, a drug-fueled idea to bring about the advent of a race war between whites and blacks. They were crimes that shocked America to its core. This former journalist who covered the trial remembers the man she calls the mistake.
It was kind of the end of the era of flower power and hippies and love and peace. You know, it was suddenly throwing this in your face that violence is out there. I never saw the mystique. It was not present in court. He was just a little sawed-off runt, a guy with long hair and an overinflated sense of himself who carved an X in his forehead and then turned it into a swastika.
At his trial in 1971, he showed no remorse. Originally given the death penalty, he was sentenced to life imprisonment a year later, when capital punishment was abolished in California state. After more than 40 years behind bars, he died in prison following a long illness.
We'll now take a look at America's Amish community, people who live simply and far removed from the technological advances of 21st century life. Well, a new study shows that the Amish just might hold the secret to living a longer life. A gene mutation discovered in people from the Old Order Amish group in Indiana seems to counter the protein responsible for aging.
Do the Amish hold the secret to a longer life? American scientists who have been studying the reclusive population say they might. Over the course of several months, around 50 researchers examined the genes of 177 Amish people aged 18 to 85 years old. 43 of those carried a mutated gene, one that counters the protein responsible for aging. All humans have caps on their chromosomes called telomeres, which shorten as they get older. However, these Amish who carried the gene mutation had caps that were 10% longer than usual. It means they live in good health to around 85 years old, an average of 10 years longer than the others.
And it predicts how long you're going to live. It predicts if you're going to get cardiovascular disease. They predict if you're going to get cancer. They predict if you're going to develop diabetes down the road.
What's more, it's something that can be genetically inherited. Parents of those who carried the mutation also lived longer. It's a major discovery for French genetic therapy specialist Axel Kahn.
We can't say that we found the one gene that stops aging. That would be stupid. There are many things at work here. What we've got is one gene found in the Amish, which is linked to life expectancy.
Whether this genetic mutation can be linked to their particular way of life is hard to say for now. However, a drug which imitates the action of this particular gene is currently being trialled in Japan and the USA.
This week marked the U.S. holiday of Thanksgiving, a day that celebrates the Pilgrims' first harvest in America, and one that's always celebrated with a turkey. Now, it's White House tradition to pardon at least 1 or 2 Thanksgiving turkeys, and President Trump got a chance to save his very first from the chopping block this year. He was joined alongside First Lady Melania Trump and their son Barron to pardon 2 turkeys called Drumstick and Wishbone. They will now live out their days without being anyone's dinner. We'll leave you with that. Thanks for watching Inside the Americas. We'll see you again next week for all the news from north to south.
Two years ago, Daniels was locked in a van and threatened by police as he walked down a Lagos street. The reason? His feminine look. The experience shook him up and he decided to change his appearance to be less conspicuous.
I was flamboyant, you know. Then after the incident, I made some modifications. Just a little though. I let my beard grow out. Then I was always cut it. I loved my androgynous look. I love the fact that I walk past you and you're like, is this a boy or a girl? But now, you cannot help but know that I'm a guy.
Nigeria outlawed gay marriage and same-sex unions in 2014, reinforcing existing laws against homosexuality. With the risk of up to 14 years in jail, gay people have been forced into the shadows. Even on dating apps and websites, there's the risk of fake profiles created by the police and extortionists. Walter launched a website for gay people to exchange warnings about which profiles to avoid.
We keep encouraging people, when you go through something, there's a tendency to shrink and internalize the pain and be too embarrassed to talk about it. We tell them, no, don't. Bring your story to us. It serves the purpose of letting other people know.
Some gay people have fled Nigeria to avoid harassment, not just from the authorities, but from their families in what is a deeply religious country. For the majority left behind in Nigeria, there's no choice but to live with the risks.
Right now, everybody knows that there are LGBT folks in this country, and that is what we want. We want you to know that we exist. We're here, we're queer, and we're here to stay.
No one has yet been convicted under the 2014 laws. All eyes are now on the courts, as those arrested earlier this year have their cases heard at the end of November.
Revisited, presented by Stuart Norval.
Люди подписали мирный договор, а потом...
In 1941, Hitler decides to invade Russia. In Leningrad, the resistance opposes the German army. The siege lasts 900 days.